Welcome to Atlassian Team 26. We are streaming live here in Anaheim. I'm Alison, Kosik, joined alongside by Christophe, Bertrand. I'm so thrilled to sit and host with you. This is my first time hosting with you.
It's a pleasure to be here. We're going to have a lot of fun and so much to talk about.
We really do. We're about to get into the subject of AI accelerating execution and the connectivity of the strategy of work that's happening across organizations.
Plenty to cover, and more importantly, what does AI mean in this day and age, and what about people, and what about strategy, which I think we're going to be talking about in a second.
All right, let's bring in our guest, Asha Thurthi. She's the head of product strategy collection and head of strategy and ops. Welcome to theCUBE.
Thank you.
So let's first talk about strategy collection. Talk us through what that is.
Sure. Thank you for having me, first off. Strategy collection is an AI-powered executive command center. It really connects what enterprise leaders care about the most. Priorities, goals, think investments, outcomes, or organizations they are accountable for. Connect all of that to work. Doug Cullen, Chief Product Officer, Chief Strategy Officer for Datasite, one of our key customers, said it best when he said, strategy collection provides a floor-to-shop view for our customers and their leaders.
Right. So I had a question about the report you recently published. I'm curious about what drove you to, first of all, do this analyst work, and what did you get out of it? What were the key findings? And let's talk about those, because I think at the end of the day, you want to know where the market is, right?
Yeah, I appreciate you reading the report. I was as excited as you. So we surveyed 300 plus senior enterprise leaders. 80% of the leaders said their priorities are clear, but only 11% had work linked to those priorities in a single system. When you think about it, it's not a tooling problem, it's a structural problem. So when a new challenge surfaces, think new mandate, new competitor, fewer than 1 in 3 organizations can make a decision within a week. 2/3 take a month or more. We call that gap your company's mean time to pivot. And strategy collection addresses that gap and brings that mean time pivot from months down to a day.
That 11% number really is striking. So I'm curious, how quickly can a company realistically move from disconnected to connected? And what does that transition actually look like?
Yeah, for sure. Strategy collection is a living system or a single connected operating model for modern enterprises. It gives an ability for you to connect all the objects that I was talking about to work. And ultimately, it is powered by the Teamwork Graph.
Right.
Teamwork Graph is Atlassian's data intelligence layer. It has over 150 billion plus objects and relations. That's ultimately what powers strategy collection.
So let's talk about that. I'm very curious about the type of ROI, because I'm sure you measure everything. That's one part of strategy. You cannot have a strategy and implement it without having in place all of the measuring tools and KPIs. So you think about, to an extent, this automation of strategy, if I understood this correctly, although let's be cautious about the terms here. 150 billion objects, you must be simplifying a bunch of processes in the in the process of planning this and executing on it. What KPIs have you observed so far, and what are people telling you that can get done that they couldn't get done before? How much faster? How much money are they saving? Essentially, why should they do this?
Yeah, for sure. It's ultimately that mean time to pivot. Lowering that is the ultimate metric that leaders care about, especially in an AI-driven world, because it's costing organizations time. Moving fast is the ultimate metric that they are going after. Let me first tell you how Teamwork Graph and strategy collection come together to make that happen, right? Teamwork Graph knows the work. Strategy collection knows what that work is for. So think of strategy collection as enriching the Teamwork Graph with priorities, investment, goals, outcomes, and organizations. That drives, Christophe, like that decision-grade intelligence. It's not just strategic intelligence, it's like decision-grade intelligence. And it's all powered through that living system, which improves the company's mean time to pivot.
What do you think is the risk for organizations to over-rely on AI and strategy execution without fixing that sort of underlying alignment issues?
High risk. I call it the, multi-billion-dollar productivity tax. Unless they actually fix the underlying connections, what you don't get is living signals from a living system. and false positives and optimizing ultimately just productivity instead of optimizing outcomes. The biggest question in every organization's mind right now is this our AI investment actually driving productivity, but not just that, driving outcomes. So that's the risk that you run if you don't have a modern way of having a living connected system which has living signals.
So let's go back to the research a little bit, because the gap you identified for us, as you explained what you can now do, I think that gap to me is very surprising. Most people realize they have to do it. Only 11%, you said, actually have started implementing it and only started. That was a very, very huge gap. Why do you think that is in the end? What's the root cause in your analysis?
Yeah, ultimately, it is that people are used to the old ways of working, which is really somebody having weekend decks sent to you or your Monday morning status meetings without the ability for you to say, how do my leaders log into what we call our strategic intelligence or decision grade intelligence like system and answer 3 questions in real time. Are our top priorities on track? Are our investments performing as expected? And what do I need to focus on today? So it is this modern way of working for modern enterprises that we're really hoping to build for our customers.
Do you think that there is a risk that people might think they're being spied on?
Great question. And I do get this from our customers. Ultimately, strategy collection isn't trying to be a surveillance tool, Christophe. The point isn't really about who's doing a lot of AI work or doing little AI work. It's ultimately all about driving that outcome that I was talking about. So strategy collection gives you human and AI capital management, which is for the very first time, you will see human, their priorities and labor cost, and AI, its usage and AI cost in the same place. That then lets you elevate the conversation to, is AI helping you drive the outcomes I was talking about, as opposed to individual performance?
Where do you think clarity gap actually shows up in an organization first?
When leaders want to make on-the-spot decisions, and they just can't answer it without somebody cooking up a spreadsheet or putting slides together. So imagine the last time you were in a board meeting or in a C-level meeting and somebody asked you, hey, is your top priority on track? You can't answer it without somebody actually producing multiple documents, and that's where the gap already shows first.
So is the problem a technological problem, or is more of a leadership problem?
It's a visibility problem. It is really a structural problem because of lack of connectivity. So I love to think of it as a connectivity problem. There's a huge opportunity for companies to adopt strategy collection to fix that.
So if you think about some customer examples, so you have maybe a couple of customers you could quote, even if you can't quote the actual names, but that you've seen use the strategy collection in actually changing or morphing their companies into that next level of evolution, which of course is AI driven. I'd be curious. And
sure.
And are there some specific vertical examples too? Do you think there are some verticals that may be more akin to adopting it, maybe a little faster? Because we always see that some verticals love new technology, love new ways of improving their efficiency. So do you see that as well happening in your customer base?
Yeah, I love talking about this, which is the proof points. Let me answer your question in 2 ways. First is us. Atlassian is customer 0. We run Atlassian on Atlassian. Atlassian collaborates on teamwork collection, and Atlassian operates on strategy collection. Second, customer, no proof point bigger than customer validation. First, like I was talking about, Doug Cullen, who's the Chief Strategy Officer and Chief Product Officer for Datasite, one of our key customers, calls strategy collection as an avenue to provide their leaders the factory-to-flow view.
Okay.
Another that comes to mind is Colton Kosik, who's an AVP for Global Agile Delivery for CNA Insurance. He says that strategy collection actually finally connects strategy at the executive level down to the team that's doing the work. So it's also about letting the teams know how the work they're doing is contributing to the success of the company. And he specifically notes it's all live data, leaders can self-serve, and that's what's amazing about this. So those examples come to mind. And Christophe, to answer your question on particular verticals, I can categorically tell you strategy collection that's built on the Atlassian Teamwork Graph serves every customer, all the way from SMB to mid-market to enterprise to strategic customers across every vertical that they serve. It scales with your organization when you think about it, because it's a living system or a living operating model. Irrespective of the org size, it scales and works for you.
Do you think we're moving toward a future where strategy becomes continuous instead of periodic?
100%. That's the future that we envision, especially in the AI world. And that is what the modern enterprise of the future actually looks like.
So let's talk about what you just identified, the fact that now you can have somebody at a lower level in your organization actually understanding the strategic priorities, which would stem from the highest level. Have you been able to identify some ROI that maybe the valuation of the company now is higher, or beyond the mean time to pivot, something that would be financially a positive for the people adopting the actual platform themselves? Because to me, at the end of the day, what you're describing is truly changes the economic nature of the system that the organization is, especially in the enterprise space. If you can really get people to align, and assuming you have the right strategy, you have to see that turn into money at some point in terms of valuation or the ability to acquire and grow your market or acquire new companies because you're more successful. Is that something you've been able to measure yet, or are you getting some anecdotal data on that?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I always love looking at Atlassian as an internal user. Like I said, we run Atlassian on Atlassian. Most definitely, strategy collection makes us a lot more efficient, which means it gives us complete visibility into our living operating system with the living signals that I was talking about, which helps us ultimately optimize our roadmaps towards the best outcome for our customers, which is both ultimately top line as well as bottom line. And, we see it for our customers as well. Lots of anecdotal proof points on this.
Okay.
And going back just to the research to sort of button it up, do you think that if a company does nothing, if they remain in that 80%, that 89 percentile, what do you think is the real cost for companies that stay there?
The cost is really lost opportunity on top line improvement as well as bottom line improvement, and building more products that serve their customers in a more meaningful way. It's really lost opportunity because they aren't operating off living signals.
Yeah.
One interesting question I have is, obviously, everybody's talking about AI replacing people. It feels to me that what you're doing is the other way around. It's really you're enabling individuals through AI and an AI-powered platform to better align, to be more efficient, to really meet the requirements of the strategy and the market, hopefully. What's your take on this? Is AI a friend or is AI a foe?
Oh, 100%. That's how I think about it. AI is augmenting people. It's giving you additional capabilities that you didn't have before, so you can drive more outcomes for your organization. And strategy collection helps you measure that. Ultimately, every company right now is going from being AI curious or AI novice to AI native. And I think of it as 2026 is the year for AI to prove itself. And strategy collection is that proof that is brought to your executive desk.
There's a lot of fear out there among companies, though, about AI taking over. But you see a way of the two working together.
For sure. And our products actually show you that. It is that ultimately humans do the priorities and do the work and the ultimate optimization for the company, and AI augments them. And our tool gives you that visibility to be able to continuously optimize your company.
Right. Yeah. I mean, perfectly implementing a bad strategy is not going to get you good results. So you still need somebody at the wheel and a human in the loop. If you take maybe your crystal ball and look, where are we 3-4 years from now? Is that 11%, 50% of people actually applying, the processes and really building strategy into every layer of the organization, leveraging the tools and the platform? Is that number going to be higher? What do you think the acceleration rate will be? Or are the gaps so substantial that it may take a little longer?
The gaps are definitely substantial today. When I talk to all these senior enterprise leaders that I'm talking about, they're definitely in a world where they're all in slides. But slides just tell you what happened. Signal tells you what is happening. So the transformation the companies have to take is towards that living operating system. That's the first order step. And then comes, how do you help AI augment your workforce in your journey from being AI curious to ultimately unlocking that ROI that we're talking about and making AI work for you.
All right, Atlassian Team 26 is kicking off, especially today. What conversations are you looking to have at the conference?
Yeah, I love this time of the year. This is the chance for us to talk to our customers and partners. We really want to help them go through their transformation journey from going from AI novice to AI native. And we're looking forward to them embracing our products in their journey towards that.
So I know there'll be a bunch of announcements. I think the keynote is a little later today, so we'll see what's coming. Without revealing too much, why is 2026 maybe a very different year in your world, in the world of AI? Is it really when things change from curious to now we want to become native adopters? Is it this year? I'm curious because it's happening so fast. I'm seeing so much going on right now.
Yeah, 100%. This is the year AI has to prove itself, like we were just talking about, to help you go from AI curious to AI native. And I'm looking forward to that journey myself and seeing how customers embrace AI in the workflows that they have to redefine the workflows towards this modern enterprise that we were talking about.
Well, I think you have about 80% of the Fortune, the largest companies in the enterprise space are your customers. So clearly you're going to have a big impact. So I'm certainly looking forward to seeing how the adoption goes. And I'd love to see that report, that research happen again next year. And so we can get a historical and see on those key questions how the sample behaves and what the results are and how it's changing.
For sure. Looking forward to customers adopting Strategy Collection to make the difference that they're looking to have.
Great conversation. Thanks so much. Great to have you.
Thank you.
And you've been watching the leader in live tech coverage and enterprise tech analysis here at theCUBE. We'll be right back.